It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and that means a new summit, and this one is called Drag and Donk Custom, and this is my summit guide. Let's go! All right, real quick before I get into it, I want to shout out a couple of people, Steven and Simji for helping with Slipstream, and Captain Redbeard for showing up in the stream and helping me a little bit with the strategy on the drag races. Definitely a huge shout out to him because he helped a lot with the shifting and timing of NOS and such. So anyways, thanks guys. So let's get into the cars. So first, the Summit bundle, we have the Ford Mustang Boss 429 Lime Edition, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, the Dodge Challenger SRT 8392 Dragster. Now, in addition to that, you're going to need a few other cars. You're going to need the Viper drag race car, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 Rift Edition, if you have it. If you don't, you can use the regular one that comes in the Summit bundle, the Street Tier 1 Ford Focus, the 110, and then you're going to need a drag car for the speed traps, but since we're buying drag cars for this, just use the Viper or the Challenger or whatever car you have at the time. And then you're going to need the P51 Mustang, which is the plane. You'll need that for one of the feats. All right, the keys to this summit are perfect shifts because we're doing a lot of drag racing, NOS usage, and Slipstream. Now, if you don't have a Slipstream partner, good times are still 100% doable, but you can get faster times with a partner. Anyways, here are the pro settings for the cars that I just mentioned. All right, the first event is called Big Wheels, Big Block, and there's a few keys to this. Mostly it's your shifts and your NOS timing. So let's take a look at this. At the beginning here, this sometimes is confusing. To get your NOS, you have to wait until this square turns pink or red or whatever color you're seeing. Then you press your right trigger or your gas pedal, and that will give you the NOS. So if you get all three of those, you'll get your NOS all the way full, and that's what you need. In this event, you only get 3 shots of NOS. You don't get to manage it yourself. So that's the first thing. The next thing is you'll get a boost for pressing the gas pedal when the go gets highlighted. So in this clip, I actually didn't do it that well. I'm actually revving up to like 2,000 or 3,000 RPMs, and that's not what you want to do. You actually want to just hit it on go. That'll give you a little boost. Now for this one, I recommend using a NOS directly off the line. And then once you clear this barricade here, you can use another one. You're trying to get the car to top speed as fast as possible. Just make sure you stay on the road. Then I preserve a NOS for the final right-hander coming down the hill. You're gonna lose a little bit of speed because it's basically the tightest corner in this race. So right here, you're basically at top speed. You're gonna lose a little bit going around this corner. Use it again right there. And that's basically it. All right, the next event is called Airport Speedway. Now on this one is just a drag race event. If you can do this with partners or with friends, you're gonna get faster times, but you guys have to be similar in skill. You have to be able to drive the car similarly. You have to be able to shift the car similarly, because if you don't, you're not gonna be close enough to actually get the benefit of Slipstream and Drag Bump. So you got to be kind of close to each other. Now, in this clip, this is my best run. In this clip, there's a couple of things you need to pay attention to. Number one, you need to get the perfect burn. So just pretty simple, straightforward. Keep your white meter in that green zone. By the time the timer ends, make sure it ends in that green zone. You'll get a perfect burn. Now, with the launch of these drag cars, you actually need to press the gas pedal slightly early. So in your head, you should be counting the time between each of the lights. It's always the same between the 4 lights, and just make sure you press it a split second before it goes green. If you do it too early, you're gonna burn the tires and you're not gonna go anywhere. It has to be slightly before. I'm talking like hundredths of a second or tenths of a second before. Now what this does is it revs it up just enough to make the tires hook and you take off really, really fast. So that's step number 1. Number 2, you need to be able to get perfect shifts. So as you can see, the meter will go up, you shift into green, gives you another perfect shift. That actually gives you a small little boost. I got 2 in a row. me go back a little bit here. All right, so notice basically through fourth gear, I've gotten perfect shifts. So I got the perfect start and perfect shifts on every single gear. When you shift to third is when you want to press the NOS. So from second to third, the second you shift into third gear, NOS, and just try to get that perfect shift into fourth as well. And the other key to this, and this actually shout out to Acor for this. I didn't actually take it from him, but Captain Redbeard in my stream chat told me that on his video, he basically is holding on to fourth gear a little bit longer and then shifting. So you're not actually doing a perfect shift when you go into fifth. So notice I'm holding on to it. I go way past it. See how far past the green meter I am? And then I shift it at about 280 miles an hour. And that puts me into fifth. And this run right here was the fastest I could get at a 7.6. And that was second on the leaderboard. I think someone has a 7.5. So that's a very, very good run. All clean shifts with the exception of fourth gear. You hold on to that a little bit and then you shift into fifth. Now for the parts I'm running on this dragster, it's going to be pure and frenetic. I know there's a cluster. I have the legend points maxed out on cluster, but I also have them maxed out on pure and frenetic. And then for the parts, pure and frenetic with a nitro chemist set. So that's basically what you need to do. Got to have the parts, got to hit those perfect shifts, hold on to fourth gear, NOS when you get to third. All right, let's move on. All right, this next event is called Oahu Versus. This is exactly the same as the first event. When you see the red, press your trigger. Red, press your trigger. Red, press your trigger. You get your 3 bursts of NOS. NOS right off the line on this one. And then you're going to NOS again once you clear these barriers, basically immediately. You'll do 2 NOSes in the beginning, and then you'll NOS after the final corner again. It's basically the same strategy. So I'll fast forward. I hold on to NOS, hold on to NOS. It's after this right corner. This left-hand corner here. It's the last tight corner on this course. And that's basically it. Use the Rift Edition if you have it. If not, the regular ZL1 will do it. And use Pure as your affix. Make sure you have it maxed out on your legend points as well. And then of course, Nitro Chemist is best. Gives you the most boost. I don't know that Nitro Chemist actually has an effect on these events though. So I didn't test that. So don't quote me on that one. But anyways, Pure should have an effect. Gives you more NOS power. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Big Clash. For this one, we're going to be using the Ford Focus RS in Street 1. There's not really a lot of trickiness to this one because it's barriered in. There's no cuts or anything like that. So there's really not a whole lot I can say about this lap. Now, this left-hander is one spot where you can do different things. On lap 1, I wall ride because I feel like you're not hitting it super hard and you don't get as much of a, collision penalty. Everything else, you should be trying to stay off the wall if you can. But if you do hit the wall, your goal should be to hit it sideways. Don't hit the front of the car. Do that, what I just did there. Hit the car on the side so you don't get the damage penalty, or possibly the rear end if you can. The front will definitely give you a collision penalty to your speed, so you don't want to do that. Anyways, that's it, man. There's nothing else I can really tell you on this one. It's literally just drive as fast as you can. Use the focus. It's going to be your best bet. And do your best. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Drag Strip. And the strategy on this is exactly the same as the last drag event. Make sure you get your perfect burn. Make sure you hit the gas just before green. Make sure you're getting the perfect shifts. Hold on to fourth gear. NOS in third. That's it. Just practice that strategy and you should be good to go. All right, the last event in the summit is called Ultimate Faceoff. And this one took me a lot of practice to try to get a good time on this. It's not an easy race. There's tons of little curbs and things to mess you up. The car is sort of uncontrollable and a little bit slidey. It's just not going to be a fun race. However, if you exercise patience and control, you'll actually do pretty well on this. Don't try to overdrive this course. It's very easy to do because you want to take every corner as fast as you possibly can. And actually, you're going to get a better time if you just take the corner more clean. So I'll show you what I mean by this. So I'm going to show you my second lap because the second lap I feel like wasn't as clean as the first one, but I'll show you where you can make mistakes so that it's not that big of a deal. So heading into this first corner, you definitely want to be in third gear and use your brakes. See how slow it took the corner? You probably could take it a little faster, but I wanted to be careful. Go through this cut here. NOS onto the grass. You can go to the right of this flag. Now this is where you want to exercise control. Notice the arrow. You're going to cut to the left at the checkpoint flag. Downshift and brake early. Look how early I get into third gear. I'm taking it at about 50 miles an hour. And then NOS out of it. It's important to make that corner. That's probably the most important corner in the entire race because it's the one that can cause you the most headache. So you just have to slow down and take it. Don't go fast on that corner. On this one, you're going to go straight through here, go across the dirt, and then it's okay if you hit that wall because it's pointing you in the right direction. You can just bounce off it a little bit and it'll help you. Don't try to do it, but it's definitely okay. Now that corner, obviously you don't want to drift that corner, and I did. This corner, you're going to take a right. Just pay attention to this boat. It's very easy to hit the boat anchor right here, or the boat, the tongue for the trailer. But if you can make that a little cleaner, you can. It'll help for sure. Notice actually when I meant cleaner is you'll actually experience this when you do this yourself. But basically this corner makes the car jump a lot. And this was a pretty clean version of, you know, what can happen there. So anyway, same thing on this one. Take it a little bit slower, third gear. Now on this section here, tons of curves through here. Stay in fourth gear. Fourth gear is going to settle the car down. Don't be on the gas a lot. The more you're on the gas, the more the car is going to jump around. So just let off the gas, let the car go around, shift to third when you get out of it, and then downshift into second to make the final turn. And NOS to the finish. So I got a 208. I think Rhino's at 203 at the time that we did this, so I feel pretty confident that's a decent time. I'm sure there can be, you know, probably some seconds to be shaved off there, but control is the biggest thing. I was overdriving this until I started just slowing down and making sure the car was settled in those corners. Anyways, let's get into those feats. All right, moving on to the feats. I'm just going to let them play out in their entirety so that you can just see my routes or the direction that I'm taking for the speed traps. There's nothing really that tricky in these, but you're going to want to pay attention to the route for the escape. That route might not be like the world record route, but it absolutely gets you 157,000 points if you can do it similar to what I did. Anyways, that's it, and I'll be back with the final scores. right, here are my final scores. Remember, you can DM me with any questions. If you have any questions regarding the summit or anything on the channel, send me a DM. I read every single one of them that comes my way. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helps. That is 100% my goal with every single time I make a piece of content. Anyways, thank you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.